Morning, freaks. Boo, boo, ba-da-da, boo. Boo, boo, ba-da-ba-da. Boo, boo, ba-da-da, boo. Boo, boo, ba-da-boo. Boo, boo, ba-da-da, boo. Banana and banana and pajamas are coming down the stairs. What's going on? Morning, sassy. I had to restart it. I wasn't gonna do that, dumb dumb. I'm just getting started. Well, welcome. Welcome to the crazy show. The crazy show. It is 6:41 in the 6:41 a.m. EST. Current weather outside is negative 9 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is a wonderful brisk upstate New York morning. And by no means am I sending my kids to school. But morning, welcome. Welcome to the danger zone. I also see that a lot of you are unsubbing, and I don't give a damn. It is what it is. Analytics. That's overview. Let's see. Let's see. Audience. I know a lot of you are returning. And 41% of you, 41% of you watch, but are not subscribed. Well, if you're gonna watch, you might as well sub up. I'm just saying. And just saying, if y'all are gonna watch, you might as well sub because at the end of the day, y'all are just gonna get the notifications that I'm on anyway. So instead of just typing my name in 1,000 times, just sub up. That way you automatically get the dang notifications, and that way you can be a hater or not. It don't matter. It is the 22nd of January, 2025. So good, beautiful morning. But I was just letting y'all know. Oh, I've lost 25 freaking viewers. Okay, cool. 23 new viewers since yesterday. No, since the 21st, since the 20th. Okay, I don't think I did anything on the 20th. No, that was the 17th. 20th. Yes, I did a Good Morning Take Your Meds live. That is, for some ungodly bargain reason, not letting me do a damn thing right now. I did not go there. Community guidelines. Well, your community guidelines can eat an ass. Freedom of speech. So the FCC can fuck off. But welcome to Open Talk. Feel free to talk about anything. I don't care what it is. It could be the moon, the sun, the weather. I don't care what it is today. Because I don't care. Uh, like you're saying. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I'm currently looking. There you go. I'll be nice. I'll share my screen. Where am I? New tab. This is what I am currently looking at. Random news. Let's refresh that. Boop, 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 boop. If you need directions on how to set that up, that's pretty messed up. Yes, I am. No, I have not made coffee yet. But there you go. Ain't nothing new. So, I mean, yeah, honestly, Trump is across the planet, and a lot of people are hating me because I'm covering it, but it's the news. What do you want from me? You want local news? Let's see. Let me see. What do I got? What? I didn't click that, but sure. What do I have? LMN. I have no news on there. Where is my news channel 13, bro? Oh, that's W. That's W. There it is. Well, you can go over my local news if you want. I'll see let's see, latest and greatest. There you go.
Region. Who's going to guide you to a special late?
Holy fuck, man.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you all so much for joining us for a special late night edition of NBC News Channel 13's 13 Now, your own personalized YouTube newscast sponsored by MVP Health, which we're very grateful for. I'm your friendly neighborhood anchor, Steve Cooge, going to guide you through some of the top stories that we are tracking here today in this beautiful area that we call the Capital Region. First off, we have a story dating back to the 1990s. We had a convicted sexual predator who has now died in prison.
Hell yeah.
People are going to listen to this story, and they're probably going to think to themselves, good riddance, especially when you hear what this guy had been convicted of. His name is Louis Van Wee. He admitted in Rensselaer County Court to molesting more than 100 children in 1997. It actually goes back way before that. That's just when he was in court, 97. One of his victims told us here at News Channel 13 that he's very relieved to hear that Van Wee is finally gone, dead from this planet. Gary Greenberg is one of the victims. He was only 7 years old at the time when Van Wee inappropriately touched him at the now closed Cohoes Memorial Hospital, where Gary was visiting his sick father. Van Wee was an employee at that hospital at the time.
Jesus.
The Department of Corrections and Community Supervision confirmed that Van Wee died on January 14th, about 2 weeks ago. He was 82 years old. His victim, who we spoke to, Gary Greenberg, told us he and others feeling a lot of relief tonight. He said, quote, Van Wee is one of the worst of the worst. They talk about monsters and you laugh about it, but he's a real life monster. He did a lot of damage to a lot of children. We're working currently to find out what his cause of death is. It's not being listed. Officials say it wasn't sudden, but it was potentially cancer. That is something that we are looking into. The victim, Greenberg, says another one of Van Wee's victims told him about his death. So the world just a little bit better for all those victims of the Mr. Van Wee right there. Also a big day for one of our local congresswomen. Elise Stefanik was in Washington, D.C. today. Pretty big day for Miss Stefanik. She was in front of a big panel of senators and congressmen and women facing hours of grilling today. Some tough questions in her hearing about how she would handle the position of ambassador to the United Nations. She is President Donald Trump's pick to lead the U.S. in the United Nations. During her Senate confirmation hearing, Congresswoman Stefanik was repeatedly asked about the United States' hefty contributions to the UN's budget. If you didn't know, the USA contributes about a fifth of the entire budget for the United Nations. Congresswoman Stefanik has pledged to track every dollar for the UN. The Congresswoman also asked about a certain hand gesture made by billionaire Elon Musk, appeared to be a Nazi salute the other day at the inauguration. That got a little fiery, but that was probably the most serious of all the back and forth banter that we saw happening with Stefanik and the people who were questioning her today. You can watch the whole back and forth debate on the hearing for Ms. Stefanik. Just go to our website, wnyt.com. That is where you're going to find it. Well, the other thing we got to talk about, of course, is the weather, because if you stepped one pinky toe outside today, you know your toe pretty much almost got frostbite and fell off, because it is just that cold outside today. We're dealing with temperatures in some places that are below zero conditions when you mix in the absolute frigid Arctic air that's been blown in our way here in the capital region. And these temperatures could get downright dangerous for a lot of people. The firefighters are getting a lot of slip and fall calls. So people who are walking out of their home, going down some steps, touching a patch of ice, and before they know it, they fall down, hit their head. Waterville Elite's fire department's been getting a lot of calls also for cardiac issues. People who are shoveling, going too hard, pushing themselves
y'all want me to send
too
my
far
kid to
in
school,
these
right?
cold conditions, ending up with heart attacks in some cases. So if you're going to be out there, take it easy, be careful. The city of Waterville Elite gets a lot of snow, and right now the cold is more of an issue than the snow is. There are hazards inside houses, we're hearing, like carbon monoxide. People who might not be getting enough heat might be turning to their stoves or ovens instead to crank up the temperatures, and using natural gas. Do not do that. That can lead to basically you poisoning yourself with carbon monoxide from your own gas ovens and stovetops. Firefighters say if you ever have a problem with your heat, never switch to alternatives like the oven or even kerosene heaters or propane heaters. Just call authorities, call a friend if you got to go stay at their house if your heater's not working, or call a heating and air conditioning specialist, because those are the folks you want to talk to. Waterville Elite is one of many towns in our region being very bombarded at this time with calls for people needing help, tripping, falling, and again, as you heard right there, cardiac issues. And the cold weather is not done yet. Coming up on News Channel 13, live at 11 o'clock over on NBC, we're going to be breaking down all of the weather and just how cold it's going to be for how long, and when we're going to have a break in the near future. In the meantime, that's going to do it for us here on 13 and Now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully we see you at 11. But if we don't, appreciate it.
Hi, everybody. Rachel Tita here with a look at your headlines and your first warning forecast. And we are going to start with your forecast because we have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the cold, but also the snow and the timing of all of this. Quick look outside, though, right now. This is a live look at Schenectady. 27 degrees out there is your wind chill, so not terribly cold compared to what we've been seeing. Now, I mentioned we have 2 rounds of this. We're going to have Saturday snow, a break, and then Sunday snow, and then an extreme cool down. That's kind of the timeline. Right now, your satellite and radar shows just mostly cloudy skies across the region. No snow yet, but we do have a winter storm watch in effect for all the areas in blue. This is in effect until 7 a.m. on Monday. Now, breaking this down hour by hour, this model is called the graph, and I want you to keep that in mind here for a second. But we're starting off the night nice and dry. Clouds will stay with us heading into Saturday morning. By the time we get to lunchtime on Saturday, we start to see this snow move in for the southern counties and the North Country first. The Adirondacks also seeing some of this snow as well. Lower elevations will see some rain, which means that could cut into our snow accumulation a little bit, which is a bummer for those of us who like the snow accumulation. Never fear, though, that second round is going to move in. This is Saturday around 5:30 or so. By the time we get to midnight Saturday, this is our break. So the first
Well, frigid temperatures outside can be dangerous, and firefighters are getting a lot of slip and fall calls.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The cold makes emergency response a lot more difficult. Kumi Tucker is joining us now live from the Waterville Lake Fire Department. And Kumi, Rachel, and I thank you for being outside for all of us right now, because we know it's not easy.
Well, you're very welcome, Steve and Rachel. And of course, in this kind of weather, ice is a big factor because of these cold temperatures. Waterville firefighters here have been very busy in the time that we've been here, and we were inside the toasty warm of the Waterville Fire Department until just a little while ago, and we came out here, and at first it doesn't seem that bad because there's really not much wind, so that wind chill is not much of a factor. But within a few minutes, I'll tell you, you really start to feel it, especially on your face and your hands, and I am wearing a lot of layers. It only takes a few minutes in this weather to feel very cold. In the winter, Waterville firefighters get calls for things like cardiac issues with people shoveling. The city did not get a lot of snow, though, so right now the cold is more of an issue, and the calls run the gamut. There are hazards inside the house like carbon monoxide. People want to make sure they clear out the outside vents and that their detectors are working. Firefighters say even if you're having problems with your heat or you feel cold, never switch to alternative ways like using an oven or bringing in kerosene heaters or propane heaters. Prevention is the key. People should dress in layers. And in the time we've been here this afternoon, Waterville has been busy.
We've been steady. Our slip and falls have obviously increased. And even a lot of the thing with us right now, if people aren't able to keep their sidewalks clear and we're coming to carry someone out of a house, now we're carrying somebody and we're on the ice as well. So, I mean, our slip and fall risk is actually elevated now as well.
We want to get them off the ground and into the warmth of the ambulance, and then we'll further do the assessment from there. But it just makes things all that more difficult. Everybody's at risk for slip and fall. The patient and everybody trying to deal with them now. It creates its obstacles. It's not just the cold; it's all the stuff that comes with it.
And when it's this cold, and we've all been there, you can feel that your fingers suddenly.
Now to a story of man helping animal this week. Some state DEC employees went above and beyond to help a moose that had gone under.
It was a cold day in Indian Lake in Hamilton County. There was snow and ice on Lake Abenaki Thursday, but it wasn't thick enough to hold a moose.
There was a report of a moose going through Lake Abenaki. There was a civilian there who saw it actually walking out on the lake and saw it go through. 20 minutes, half hour later, arrived on scene at Lake Abenaki and met with DEC civilian staff.
A rescue would require a combination of compassion and ingenuity.
I guess there's no training manual for getting moose out of the ice. But so I met with Ranger Nahor showed up, and we came up with a game plan. Myself, Officer Brassard, and Ranger Nahor there, we came up with a game plan to say, hey, let's see if we can start cutting the channel, see if we can get this moose out of there. We donned our cold weather gear and went out on the ice, and he started cutting the channel with his chainsaw, and I was pushing the ice blocks underneath the channel to move them out of the way.
The air temperature was around 15 degrees, the water icy cold. This was a rescue that required patience, but the clock was ticking.
Time wasn't on our side, but it wasn't going to take forever for us to do what we had to do. It was, do what we can with what we have.
We were able to get around behind the hole that the moose had fallen through, and we tried poking it with a couple different things, but it didn't seem afraid of them. So finally we pushed the jet sleds that we had up close to it, and for whatever reason it was scared of those. So once we got behind it, we were able to direct it to the path, and it actually swam out pretty quick to shore.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I was really surprised it was able to climb itself out of that onto the ice after being in the water for 2 hours, because it was really tired. It was shivering, and it was just didn't have much energy left.
The frightened, frigid bull moose needed some time to gather itself. Its rescuers still patient.
Probably after 15 minutes or so, it got on its feet and started to walk up towards the road and towards a bigger patch of woods.
And just to see it eventually get its footing and wander off into the woods, it was great to see.
Yeah, great to see is right. This was teamwork by forest rangers and Encon police who didn't give a second thought about jumping in to help.
And like they said, no training manual for something like this.
No, right?
But determined to help.
In 2 hours in that icy cold water.
Yeah, it's crazy what happens up this way. Let's see what else we have, huh? That was 4 days ago.
We have a safety alert for you. At this point, it isn't absolutely clear whether some violent attacks that started happening in Albany are isolated or maybe part of a disturbing trend.
Now, what we do know for sure is that they happen near the same Albany parking garage, and also that people who live or work in that area remain concerned tonight. From beneath the shadow of Empire State Plaza tonight, Dan Levy has more from the East Garage on Madison Avenue.
The ugly encounters that have taken place near this downtown Albany parking garage have been random and violent. But the question remains, have there been enough of them to declare this area a danger zone? Apparently, many folks who either live or work near Madison and Eagle Streets is aware of what's been happening. 2 attacks, 2 people hit in the head, and many emotions.
I mean, it didn't scare me, but it's still worrisome because my friend is also and his wife are an older couple, and I worry about them more than myself, them walking around at night, them coming from the Empire Plaza at nighttime.
This area does seem to, throughout the years have some kind of surprises.
Kyla Langley, who works in the neighborhood, says she is aware of the violence, but of equal concern to her is people's reluctance to be part of the solution.
As of recent, people are like, this is not any of my business. It seems like as a society, that seems to be where we've gotten.
I'm aware of one incident that happened 2 mornings ago.
Albany Police Chief Brendan Cox believes heightened fear might be the result of perception replacing reality, theorizing that fewer people working in or visiting downtown Albany creates an illusion for people to think that they're all alone and perhaps more vulnerable to crime.
So I would certainly say to the state workers, we have a relatively safe downtown. They are safe. If there are fears, we can work through those.
While police have beefed up patrols in this area, they continue to urge people, if they see something suspicious, to report it to them immediately.
That's crazy. But that's just a little bit of what goes on in my region. I mean, 12 days ago, California wildfire.
We're hearing from a woman who is from the capital region, from the Skodak area, who has lived in Los Angeles now for 25 years.
Our reporter, Zach.
It's just a bunch of crazy shit. A couple weeks back, current, I don't know. But yeah, ain't really much. Other than this dirt merchant, political shit. More political shit. More political shit. There you go. Here's a good
Tonight,
story.
an area woman has new marching orders. She's now preparing for a life-changing journey, going from homelessness to hometown hero. Our Dan Levy has this heartwarming story for the greater good.
This is a story about a young woman who, not long ago, was one of the many and the uncertain. She is about to become one of the few and the proud.
This is my room, 255.
As it turns out, this one-time jail cell at the Albany County Correctional Facility, transformed into a furnished room for the homeless, might be the perfect place for 20-year-old Raquela Austin to stay as she gets ready to transform her life and move forward to become a U.S. Marine.
I feel like this is like a good place. They push everyone to actually get somewhere in life and not just stay stuck in the middle.
After graduating from Albany High School, Raquela found herself in a bad situation. She wound up at Sheriff Craig Apple's homeless support program, where she received attention, encouragement, and motivation that enabled her to pass the test to become a Marine, and she will be heading to Parris Island to begin basic training in March. In other words, her life now has direction.
So in 10 years, I'm hoping to be amongst the
Dude, you can paint it up any way you want.
Ranks in the military.
You can paint it up any way you want. That's still a jail cell. That's still a jail cell. Just saying.
Have people from all over, and life happens every day. Doesn't mean people lack motivation, skills, or what it takes to be successful.
As the housing supervisor at SHIP, Vivian Cornegay says her greatest reward is seeing so many success stories, just like Raquela's. Why, in your mind, do you believe she will be such a successful United States Marine?
Determination and tenacity. She is determined that she is going to have the life she deserves.
For the people that are stuck with nowhere to go and wondering where they're going to end up, I would recommend this facility 100%.
It's not just Raquela who is destined to become one of the few and the proud. Vivian Cornegay says she will be at Parris Island when Raquela graduates from basic training. In Colony with coverage you can trust. Dan.
It was the first of its kind in the country when it opened in 2020, and today the Albany County Sheriff is taking his homeless improvement program to the next level. It started when Sheriff Craig Apple turned an obsolete wing of the jail into a temporary home for men who needed help getting back on their feet. And today, another first, dedicated space for homeless women and their children.
We want it to be homey. We don't want it to be institutionalized.
The concrete walls were once to punish. Now they protect. Here inside a decommissioned section of the Albany County Jail, a space that's welcoming. It all started a few years ago. Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple was finding that many, if not most, of the people who were being released from prison and jail were ending up homeless. He had space in the county jail. Fewer people were being locked up for drug possession, so he turned a wing into this home for the homeless.
So we had this open wing. Everybody kind of was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this. But then everybody fell in love with the project. And
the jail gates have been turned into doors that can be opened from both sides. It opened in 2020 for men who were trying to get back on their feet. All the services they need to find a job, save money, and get their own place. Occasionally, a woman was allowed to stay here.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Women like Carla Johnson, who says her time here saved her life. And today, a major expansion. This brand new wing for women and their children. 45 additional rooms, 2 suites, reconfigured space made up of 3 former cells to accommodate people who have children. It's all made possible by a $500,000 federal grant and donations from many, including Broadview and its CEO.
I thought they were a financial institution. We are.
Carla Johnson is moving into her new place in Schenectady this week, 8 months after she was on the verge of living in her car. She's thrilled that other women will now have the opportunity to get back on track here.
My heart is just swelled because it's the safety and the recognition of they're going to be helped and they're not going to understand the help that they are about to receive.
No, they got this thing called Clean Slate Act up here, but it doesn't take effect until 8 years. Your slate doesn't get clean until 8 years after you served your sentence. It's difficult and hard, yes, but I mean, at least they took some of the jail and turned it into something positive, so I'll give them that. But to me, it's still a fucking jail. I mean, they still even got the godforsaken metal toilet sitting there.
And how it's going to set them back on track.
We never did this before, and we're still learning every day. But you know what? When you see somebody come in and at the absolute rock bottom, and leave and come back and talk to the others about their transition and their transformation, man, if that doesn't pull on your heartstrings, nothing will.
It's bipartisan too. The support. Clearly, the sheriff is passionate about this and says the program saves taxpayers money because it's much less than the cost of incarceration. Coming up at 6, one of the first women to move into the new space tells us what it means for her.
Groundbreaking. The space was there, and he came up with a new way to use it.
Why not?
Exactly.
Right? There's a new safety net tonight for women specifically who just happen to be down on their luck with no place to turn to and no place to live. The Albany County Correctional Facility has turned a former wing of one of their jails into a special space for women who are experiencing homelessness. Sheriff Craig Apple gave our own Mark Mulholland a special tour of this new space today. Mark, tell us what it's all about.
Well, good evening, Steve. The sheriff calls it SHIP, which stands for Sheriff Homeless Improvement Program. It's been so successful since it opened in 2020. The sheriff expanded it today to now have dedicated space for women and their children. You won't typically find celebrations inside a jail, but today was different. It was the opening of a newly renovated wing. What used to be cells are now small bedrooms for women and, in some cases, their children. This is the latest part of the sheriff's initiative to provide housing for people who would otherwise be homeless. He opened a no longer needed jail wing as a place for people to stay and get back on their feet, get a job, and save some money. The sheriff says it has a nearly 75% success rate, meaning more than 7 out of 10 people who stay here get a job and their own place. And now this space for women and parents with children.
I actually wanted to do the whole side, but then I thought, well, let's see how it goes.
What was this? Well,
this is just like the other side. We just added this shell to encapsulate these 3 rooms. To create that atmosphere where mom could lock that door and still have her children out here, maybe bring some toys in here and have her own private space until they can regroup and get better housing.
Now, coming up at 6, how the sheriff says the program is saving taxpayer money. And we'll also talk to a young woman who is among the first to move in. Steve?
Oh, what a great little initiative. Thank you for that, Mark. And especially important in times like this when you've got so much freezing weather that we're dealing with. Being homeless in New York at a time like this is scary.
Well, it was the first of its kind when it opened a few years ago. And tonight, the Albany County Sheriff Homeless Improvement Program, or SHIP, is expanding, turning another wing of the jail into a place for home. And
this I'm playing is the whole coverage of the whole thing. Just so everybody understands why you keep hearing repetition.
For hope.
We want it to be homey. We don't want it to be institutionalized.
The concrete walls were once to punish. Now they protect. Here inside a decommissioned section of the Albany County Jail, a space that's welcoming. It all started a few years ago. Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple was finding that many of the people being released from prison and jail were ending up homeless. He had space in the county jail, so he turned a wing into this home for the homeless.
This is literally the only county jail in operation or closed down that is housing homeless in the country.
It opened in 2020 for men who were trying to get back on their feet. All the services they need to find a job, save money, and get their own place. Occasionally, women stay here too. And today, a major expansion. This brand new wing for women and their children. 45 additional rooms, including reconfigured space made up of 3 former cells to accommodate people who have children. It's all made possible by a $500,000 federal grant and donations from many, including Broadview and its CEO.
I'm really excited about the space in here.
Deja Thomas is among the very first to move into the new wing, hoping it will be just what she needs to get her life on track.
Being over here is going to make me so excited. I like that we are separated, you know what I mean? Very exciting.
And her goal is to soon be working not far from where she's living for the next few weeks.
I want to be a correctional officer. I'm working on that right now. And by God's will, and everything's going to work out for me.
My staff did this. My staff built this. My staff works here and houses.
Your enthusiasm and passion for it is contagious.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
That's what it is.
That's fair.
He's always humble and eager to share the credit. The sheriff says it costs far less to provide housing than it does to incarcerate.
The stuffed animals, the games for the kids, it already looks inviting.
Making it.
Well, I gotta say that's a good way to do that. I mean, why not? That sounds like a good idea to me. I mean, shit. I don't see why that's an issue. I give them props. I give them points. But I figured I'd share some of my local news with you guys. I tried to play a game, but it was so laggy I couldn't do shit. And WASD is basically the arrow keys on the keyboard, and yeah, I can't figure that out for the life of me. So, but I'm gonna hop off of this. I'm gonna chillax and probably watch some BoobTube and warm up my toesies. Even though it says it's like 75 in my house, it's still cold as shit. We are at -9 degrees Fahrenheit. So, but you guys have a blessed day. I'm going to chillax, warm up, and hi, Mish. Did you want to come up and say hi to the people? Hi, Misha. You wanted the loves? I know your toe beans are even cold this morning. Yes, your toe beans are cold. So me and homeboy are gonna go smuggle up on the couch and watch TV. You guys have a good day. Much love, and listen. 41% of you are watching and not subscribed. So go ahead, sub up. Do you unsub if you want? Like, dislike. I don't care at this moment. But much love, everybody. Stay warm, and always remember, if you're cold, these guys are cold. Okay? Love your animals. Share your blankies and your heat. Much love. I'll see you all in the next.